right, well, thanks you guys for coming out. I appreciate it. I like that I got the thanks in action and everything. Boom! So, my name's Keith Silverstein, doing voiceover for about 15 years, a little more actually. And I do everything in terms of, anime, original animation, commercial work, audiobooks, and of course video games. But right now what I want to talk about is called Talking Games, because I want to talk a little bit about the history of voiceover in video games. So you guys are all, I assume you guys are all, I'm going to use the mic just because it's here, because I want to use it. Because it's, can you hear me all the way in the back?
Yeah!
You guys hear me back there?
Yeah!
Alright, because we got a really full house, so I want to make sure that everybody can hear me alright. So come on in! Even if I see somebody even hovering, I'm like, get in here! Get over here!
I command you.
There's a video game quote that has nothing to do with me. So let me first off, because I never assume that you guys know what I have, what I've done or what have you. So the first thing I want to start off with is just like a little video. This is actually my reel, my most recent reel. I got a new reel coming soon. But there's not a lot of video games in this, but it'll give you an idea of some of the stuff that I've done, and then we can move on from there and we'll talk video games. So check it out.
The show can begin! His attacks and defense are as one, all achieved with sand. You're nothing without that sand of yours. You don't know who Fufu is? No, how would I know? Because Fufu the bear is a great big giant bear with enormous teeth. He has razor-sharp steel claws. He's scary, and when he gets angry, his blood boils up and then he attacks! What's that? What's what? Eat my vapor trail, Stone Rangers!
Clips! This isn't over! It'll never be over until Clips is defeated once and for all! Clubber, return!
Perfect. I can stop by Gordon and Casey bring up this earth jeweler I know.
This is like old times, when we used to hang out between meals at the convenience store.
I'm the chess piece called Kiram. I would have liked to spend more time on the villages, but you know how it goes. I had to come down to the underground lake to search for an erm. I don't suppose you found it somewhere, did you?
So, my old partner, life has certainly led us on a strange journey to bring us to this point. Now then, let's get going.
I know I talked you out of the Grains of Dancing Sand parade.
Amigos! Welcome to Pierre Leron's traveling circus!
Left, right, red! Left, right, red! Everybody's butts are bright red! Everybody! Bright red!
Hold it right there! You must not move that body! Take a good look at the victim's neck! The mystery is completely solved!
So it was you. You were the one who was sending love letters this whole time, huh? Come on, old man Sabato. What do you say the two guys from the shadows make their own rain of blood? Sure sounds like a good time to me.
I thought that you might be able to decipher my message.
Well, it wasn't so bad. You used a basic EVB scramble algorithm, so I just
Flop the ECM data stream. Donatello, why are all the other cells open?
I must have opened them when I let you out, but they were all empty.
I'm not so sure about that.
Biblical, isn't it?
Change of plan. If you see a bacteria, run away!
I don't know, we're talking built city there.
I'm so glad I was able to help. That was a good thing.
Don't make us repeat ourselves. We are known as Espada number 9, Aroniero Arorueri.
So he was right. That Ishidate. He's a clever one. He guessed that all that ruckus outside was just a diversion.
Sarangas, stop! You're letting your anger take over. It stinks! Where's the living room? Where's the kitchen?
He was amazing. Did you see that exit?
So there you go. A few examples of some stuff so you kind of have an idea and everything. Thank you. Thank you, everyone in the back. Especially in the back. Come on, sit down. Come on, sit down. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you. Sorry, I can't resist because you got the camera on. So I will get a video game reel at some point and throw some of that stuff in there because I know you guys would appreciate that. But that gives you a little bit of idea. Now I consider myself really lucky as far as video games are concerned because I was there for all of it. So I was born in 1970. I used to go to the arcade and play pinball. I used to play Star Castle, Battlezone, Asteroids. I remember playing Pong in the arcades. I was there for all the systems to come out, and it's funny because I am a huge gamer, but at the same time, like I now have a baby, and like I haven't really played games other than Marvel Puzzle Quest, which I can't put down. Sorry, I can't put it down. I can't stop. But you can take that with you. It's crazy. But back in the day, I mean, I loved gaming, and my first love in the gaming universe was this bad boy right here.
Yeah.
You guys know this one? The Atari 2600. Now I still have a system. It's actually like totally like in the basement right now, but I know exactly where it is. I pick up games. It's one of the things I do when I'm at conventions or swap meets or something. If I find a game and there's like a couple of bucks that I don't have, I pick it up. I don't care if it's a lame game. I just pick it as long as it's reasonably priced.
E.T.
Yeah, E.T. I got. E.T. cost me $1. Whatever. I don't play it very often. I played it back in the day. We didn't think it was the worst game ever. We did have problems with it. We got annoyed getting stuck in those pits. Trust me. But I don't know that it's the worst game involved. There's some bad Atari 2600 games. There's some really good ones too. Now, this was not the first home system, but it was the first one that really took cartridges. So Atari had an earlier system that just had like 6 kind of breakout games you could choose from. No talking in that one. This Atari 2600, no talking, but trust me, I was so excited to get this. I got it as a combination birthday, Christmas, Hanukkah gift. And if you don't believe me, there's the proof right there.
How much was that back then?
That was me, man. I'm in shock. Like, I can't believe I actually got this. So I loved this system. I had a great time with it. This was the system everybody had. By the way, I found a game today too. It's called Deadly Duck, and I did not have it, and I bought it for $2.50. I'm just saying. So MagicCon rocks. This is great, Magic City Con. So there was a game system that came out right after this. I call it the Rich Kid system. It wasn't really that much more expensive, but the problem was everybody got the 2600. So when Intellivision came out, which looked like this, the problem was for someone like me is like, if I want that, and I say, Mom, Dad, I want the Intellivision. They go, what's wrong with the game system? We got you. This wasn't like the era of games where like now everybody gets like both systems, or a lot of people do, right? So I call it the Rich Kid system, just kind of because the kids whose parents were like, yeah, sure, we'll get you another system, no problem. Got it. Or whoever missed out on the first, on the Atari. So I had a buddy up the street who got the Intellivision, so I did get a lot of play on this Intellivision. Now it's interesting if you look at it though, if you look at like the controller and stuff. How many of you guys have seen Intellivision before? Okay, so strangely enough, the controller is actually similar to the controllers now. I mean, not in shape, but that disc that has 180 degrees, 360 degrees, excuse me, like it's very similar to the controllers we have nowadays. The main difference they had was they had this keypad, and when you bought a game, it came with this little card that you slid in, and then you had 12 buttons that could be whatever they wanted it to be. Now the Intellivision also did not talk. There was no talking at this point whatsoever in video games. That was still to come. But they did come out with a very special attachment at one point, which is called the IntelliVoice, and it looked a little something like this. Check it out. Now here's the cool thing for this. All you gotta do is spend an extra, I don't remember, 20, 30 bucks, maybe 40 bucks at the most. Back then it was probably 25 bucks, but it was probably like the equivalent of 40 bucks or something, right? And you got this, and then all your games talk, right? No, it's not that cool. It doesn't make all your games talk. What it does is they came out with like 5 to 10 different games that you could play normally and they wouldn't talk, or you could plug them in through IntelliVoice and they would talk. So, pretty darn cool. So my buddy got this, and my buddy Mike, and he called me up and he's like, you gotta come over, man. I got IntelliVoice. Oh my God, you gotta be kidding me. I'm there right now. He was 3 houses down, so it was one of those like hang up the phone and then, I'm here, open the door, I wanna see it. So we put in, they got Space Spartans here, but we had B-17 Bomber. So this is the load screen, comes up just like that, and we're like, dude, do it. And then the magic sound, we heard this.
Mattel Electronics presents B-17 Bomber.
Yes! Come on! Oh my God! How cool is that? That's totally worth $40. Now, of course, the game would also be like alert, 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 in that same kind of process synthesized voice. Now, that's not an actor, by the way. Just so you know, this is a synthesized voice that we've got at this point. So, but it was one of the first examples of voices, especially absolutely for the home system. This was the first example. In the arcades, they had other synthesized games. Some of you may or may not remember these, but anybody know Sinistar? I got a couple nods, maybe.
Oh wait, that game.
Sinistar was kind of a cool game, and it had synthesized talking. And in fact, I have an example for you so you can see what that sounded like. It's kind of cool. This used to scare the crap out of you because you'd fly around like Xevious or something, like through space, and you just have ships coming from every direction, like Time Pilot, like any of those games. And then out of nowhere, the Sinistar, the bad guy, would just like pop in the screen and start yelling at you, and he's really hard to kill, but you never knew when he was coming because he came out really fast, right? Anyway, this is what he sounded like.
I am Sinistar. Beware, I live. Run, run, run. Beware, coward. Run, coward.
It would totally freak you out when trust me, it would come in raw, like when he came in, and you were concentrating because trust me, you're trying to shoot everything. You know when something just comes out at you, you're like, oh man, change the plan, gotta get this. You know, so forget the little ships, I gotta get him, because he would just like slam into you and just kill you, and that was it. But that was in the arcade, one of the first examples I remember. One of the other games, anybody know what this is? Anybody know it?
Looks familiar.
Nobody knows the name, huh? You youngsters. This game was called Berserk. With a Z, Berserk with a Z. And it was real simple. It was a bunch of different mazes like this, and these robots would come after you. It was one of the first games that had like I think it had two joysticks. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so I think it did, where you'd shoot with one. No, maybe I'm thinking mixing up with a later one. But at any rate, it was tougher than you think, because you don't run as quickly as you want to run. It was kind of hard to get through all these guys. And I have an example for you for that too. Would you like an example for that?
Yeah.
Here's something interesting I found out about this game, by the way. I'm not sure about the other ones, but this one I know for sure. They used the first voice synthesizer, which was named Otto, O-T-T-O, and it was like the first voice synthesizer. It's still sampled in a lot of like rap songs and stuff like that, but that's what it's called, Otto. So this is actually the first voice synthesizer, and this is one of the first ways that they used it. So here's a screen, and I'll let you, well, I think it's too long, but I'll let you see a little of it. And that is like, if you guys ever saw like Battlestar Galactica, that was the voice synthesizer they had at the time. So all the shows and games that they wanted that kind of a sound, that's basically what they used. So you had a few things here. Can you have a question?
I was gonna say that like back then they had like I think like maybe was it like 3 or maybe 5 voice synthesizers. Like there was a female one and there's the 2 ones that you presented, that one and the other one.
Right. I don't know what the other one's names are. I just know I read that today.
I saw it like a couple of months ago. Like I refreshed my memory on that, but I don't remember. It was like a long time ago.
Okay. Yeah, I get it. Every time I do this panel, I research a little bit more. Yeah. So I just found out that this specifically, I don't know about the other games, but this one was Otto.
Yeah.
O-T-T-O. This was actually that voice for this game. So now if we move on a little bit here.
Yes.
We get to some more recent systems. Now I remember very much getting the Sega Genesis. Okay?
Yeah,
And it's funny now because nowadays you plug in a game and no matter what happens, we're like almost never impressed. I mean, we're impressed with the game as a whole, but it's hard right now technologically to be like blown away. Because pretty much you get anything you can see in a Blu-ray or whatever, you can get out of a video game now. So they're pretty impressive. But back in the day when we first booted up our Genesis, I was with a bunch of friends and we had to plug it in, let's go, we're all gonna play. And we got this at the beginning. Again, this was very impressive for
Yes.
What? We freaked out, we totally freaked out. You like that, right, Sonic?
Yeah, I loved it.
You're ready to run. When you hear that, you're like, let's go.
Let's go.
Where are my rings? Let's do this.
That actually took a lot of space to put in there.
It probably did take a lot of space, but you know what? For us at the time, like we really appreciated that. We were blown away.
The Sega jingle took up the amount of memory of a zone.
Yeah.
An entire zone.
I don't even know what a zone is as far as
Sonic
game.
the Hedgehog, basically.
Oh, I see. Like a Sonic zone. It was just to have it go, say, amazing.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? We were very impressed with that. So, just to show you how far we've come, because you turn something on that does that now, and that's like nothing. That doesn't mean anything to you at all. But that like totally blew us away. We were so. Now, this is the home systems, right? Meanwhile, in the arcade, they're starting now to use, I mean, at this point that we're talking about, they're starting to use even voice actors in stuff in the arcade games. Games like Gauntlet. You guys ever play Gauntlet?
Yes.
Barbarian needs food, right? It wasn't great voiceover, but it was the beginnings of it. And even in the home games, we started to get what I call talkies, just like the first games that could actually talk. So you had games like, Final Fantasy, old school, baby.
Metal
Gear Solid.
I still like Konami was good.
And one of my personal favorites.
Yeah.
You
Old,
Jill sent.
old school, baby. This is old school stuff. Now,
When they had live
here's the deal. Here's the deal with these games, okay? Back in the day, let's go to Atari just for a second to explain that where they've come. Because this isn't even that many years from Atari to where we're at now, okay? To PlayStation and stuff. And Atari, when they had credits for a game, it was one person. So it would be like Mega Mania by David Crane. Okay, now you guys have all solved games now, and the credits come and they take like 7 minutes to go through, and they're going by fast and everything. Okay, just imagine, there used to be like one guy did the music, did the programming, wrote the game, like whatever was done, and it was one guy, and he was like, I'm done, here's the cartridge. Make more of them. You know what I mean? Here's the chip, whatever they had to hand over, they're like, go. Which is amazing, considering now. So, at this point, they weren't really using the voiceover industry in these games. You know, they weren't using the people who did, like, say, cartoons and commercials and stuff like that to do video games. So really, you had the programmers who were programming the game, it was a group of them now, and writing the game, and sometimes translating the game, because sometimes they were written and created in Japan, and then they were translated. They didn't have a director. I mean, not a director who was just a director. They'd be like, one of the guys working on the game would direct. And usually, instead of using actors, they definitely didn't do auditions. They would just say, oh, I've got a cousin who's an actor. I've got a friend, he's done some stuff, or you know what, I can do it. I can do that. I know Resident Evil, for a fact, was done in Japan. And so they used actors who spoke English, who were mostly Americans living in Japan, to work on Resident Evil, like the first original one. So there were all kinds of translation issues and weird stuff. Hence, I don't know if you guys remember, the game was fantastic and of course changed the world, of gaming to a degree. But the voiceover is it's really bad.
Phoned in.
It's I don't know if it's phoned in.
It feels like it anyway.
But you got to realize that we have a lot of tools now when we do it. You know, we're auditioning, so we're choosing the right actor for the part. You have a director there, the producers are there. You know what I mean? It's not one person doing everything. There's so much more being put into it. Yeah, we got a question.
There's this group on the internet called Two Best Friends Play.
Uh-huh.
When they played the original Silent Hill, they were talking about how the AD something with the
ADR?
Yeah, ADR and all that, how like live action and directing was back then. They said it wasn't like it was. Richard Epcar, I think you worked.
I know Epcar, yeah.
I met his wife. She was. I saw an interview how she said how the '90s wasn't directed to voice.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Big.
Yeah, they've been in it. They've been doing it for a long time, so they would know. Like, I didn't get to experience this stuff. I experienced it as a gamer, like some of you guys. You know what I mean? And at the time, we were not as judgmental on it because it was the first we got of that. So a lot of people don't realize until they look back, like how bad this was, because the game was cool and people remember fondly the game. But anyway, somebody put together on the internet the 50 worst video game one-liners, and I'm gonna play that for you. Now listen, I don't know that these are really the 50 worst, but they're pretty bad. So I want you to definitely enjoy this.
Silent Hill has to be on there.
Welcome to die. Oh man.
That's funny. X-Men, right? Alright, give it a sec. It takes a sec always to load up, but enjoy.
Jill, here's a lockpick. It might be handy if you, the master of unlocking, take it with you.
I didn't ask to be photographed.
Oh God.
What did you say? Your face was asking. That's why I took the photo.
The car's parked in the city square. The top floor. Building at point A0063. He's there.
What? You challenge me with trickery? I don't believe in magic.
That hurts! Don't kill me! Please don't kill me! But I suppose
Oh, thank you so much for your help. You're my knight in shining armor.
Don't let looks deceive you. I have already lived several hundred years. It's time I rest a while.
Die, you worms! Together with this burning ship!
There's no way I'm using this until I find out how it works.
Oh no! Something's coming! Oh no! He's going to explode!
Now bear my Arctic blast.
We did it! We deactivated the bomb!
You shall die by my arrows.
Your arrows are like you, weak and twisted. I fear them. Not.
Leave me alone. It's men like you that are ruining this world.
Oh, forgotten gods of ancient times.
As revenge for my wife, my daughter, and myself, I will eliminate you.
James, go and prevent the confusion in the city.
That's what you should have done in the beginning.
I eat guys like you for breakfast.
Alright. I'd be unstoppable in this baby.
I guess those three were no match for you. Let me be your opponent now.
It hurts a bit, but I can walk. Yesterday is history today. Today is tomorrow's history. Cooking mama, too. Dinner with friends.
Hold me if I'm dying, and vice versa, okay?
Oh god! Oh my god!
Wait, I'll grab my stuff. I like Chopin myself.
Not me. That's probably why I don't play Chopin.
Never?
No, never.
If I die, will you play Chopin in remembrance of me?
Now I think I've got my head around this different dimensions business, but how do I get back to Tokyo?
What are you saying, Lean? I should be the one saying that. I wanted to release you from those wings that torment you so.
Get back to your area!
By dawn, the god of destruction will be unleashed.
I guess this means we can forget about using the elevator.
Maybe not. Tom left a message. He wrote it on the floor in his own blood.
In his blood? Way to go, kid.
Please forgive my late arrival.
No, you have done well.
Before you die, I'm going to tell you a little secret, just to make it so you really don't want to die.
That explains it. That smell wasn't this toilet, it was a dead body.
Just messing around here or there, whichever way the wind blows.
Another body. Something tells me I'll be seeing a lot of these.
I can only die once. I'm happy that you've killed me.
I have to stay alive and write this article before I die.
I heard that this facility has a number of areas inaccessible to the regular researchers.
Even the mighty Ramses is taking me for a wimp, asking me to battle with a girl.
Hey, just cut the conversation and watch out for my whip.
Mankind has always been the poison.
Ihadoka, the absolute being. She is female, 23 years old. Bad.
Oh yeah, that is
I love you more than anyone else. Much, much more. Hi, what a cute boy. Interested in my body, aren't you?
Not interested.
Oh, you're into that.
I like girls, but now it's about justice.
You must recover all the energy you need, Mega Man.
But where is Dr. Wily?
That's a good question. We may be able to locate another energy emission from the radar room. When we find that meter, we'll find Dr. Wily.
Help me!
It would seem that a power much greater than mine has decided that mankind must live. I can only bow to that decision.
Yeah, you can't just hang on any sound you want to hang on and make it sound natural. So that is, according to someone on the internet, the 50 worst one-liners in video games. So I'm sure there's some worse ones. Some of them are really bad. Some of them weren't as bad. But you got to realize, you got things like you don't have real writers, you're not getting accurate translations. So the guy who was playing like the Dr. Wily, clearly, he sounded like Elmer Fudd. But I mean, I think that was probably done in Japan, and it was probably a Japanese guy who had a very thick dialect when speaking English. So he just probably wouldn't have been cast normally. There's nothing wrong with having the dialect, but it's the point where you can almost not understand. The dialect would be fine if it's a natural dialect, yeah.
I remember the firefighter game.
You remember? Some of you guys remember some of these games?
Yeah.
It's funny now. I consider myself just lucky. I'd like to say, hey, there's no way I'd be on this list ever, but I'm lucky because there's a game that came up like 2 times. It's called Extermination, which is actually the first. The first game I ever worked on. And I'm just lucky they didn't choose one of my lines, really, because it came up like twice anyway from other characters.
You're like, thank God, I'm the better one.
No. Like I said, I think I'm just lucky that they didn't pick, because I listen to those, and some of them I know are just. It's not like everybody. Like I know some of the actors that are in that too, and they're great actors. I don't know. I mean, some of these were 15, 20 years ago, so everybody has a bad performance, especially when you're starting out. But at the same time, the directors are really, really important, and knowing the context of what you're saying is really important. And some of the lines you heard are just bad lines. Like he wrote it in his own blood. Way to go, kid! Like you're just like that just doesn't flow right. Like the guy died. Like this is the wrong reaction.
I thought it's so funny though.
It's hilarious, but I don't think it wasn't supposed to be. You know what I mean? You were supposed to be like, oh, thank goodness. So way to go is not the right. Maybe like, something where they're just like, well, thank goodness he passed this on. We're sorry he had to go. I mean, something along those lines, as opposed to, way to go, kid. I mean, it's just like that's ridiculous. The guy's done. He wrote it in his own blood. Way to go, kid. It's hilarious, right?
It's funny because like someone from over there pointed out that during one of the games, it was like the green case. It was the voice actor for Colonel from Metal Gear Solid.
Oh, was it? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So listen, this is not my list. I didn't compile it. And I'm not saying at all that those were bad actors per se. I know that the lines came off poorly and it could have been any of a number of reasons. So now we talk a little bit. Now we've got video games that are big business, right? I mean, video games are huge now. I was saying this earlier, but Call of Duty, Black Ops 3 made $550 million in the first 3 days. Okay. But so I don't know what it's made now. Yeah, it seems like a lot to me. So games are big business, and it's done totally differently now. Clearly now they have the whole acting pool, including celebrities, to audition, for parts in these games. They now have directors. They have fantastic directors. The producers are there for it. They take everything very seriously when they're translating it, whatever. So most games, it's really important to get everything just right, and they work really hard at it. So now that we're in this new world, now I'm going to talk a little bit about. One of the other things that's cool, like you pick up a magazine, a gaming magazine, and it rates the games, and you see like regularly now it says voiceover and there's a rating for it. Like that, even when I started, was rare. So even 15 years ago, it was kind of like most of the time they didn't rate voiceover. It wasn't that important. At least people didn't think it was that important. And I guess they were probably so bad that they had to start getting good, which is a collaborative effort. It's not just it's not like actors used to be bad and they got good. It's the scenery changed, everything changed. So now they're including that, and that's kind of a big deal. So let me talk a little bit about some of the stuff that I've done. Like I said, this was the first one I worked on. Was a game called Extermination. It was kind of a cross between Aliens and the Thing, if that makes sense. So you guys know John Carpenter's like The Thing, or the original The Thing. Didn't do that well. I was incredibly excited because I'm a gamer. So when I got started, I'd had a few gigs doing this and that, and I couldn't wait to do a video game. And I booked this. I was really happy about it. I hoped it would do well. It didn't do so well. It was still fun to record. The second game actually frustrated me too, because it's one of those games you play for a while, and then you eventually get to a boss that you just can't pass. And then you try and you try and you try, and then it feels like you've just wasted 25 hours because you're like, I have to stop. I can't. I had to give up on this game. I'm like, I can't even see all of my performance. It was my first game. Nowadays you can go to YouTube and you can just watch it. You can be like, end of, so you can type in anything and find it. So the next game I worked on, it was actually the second game, did a little bit better, actually. You may know this game. SOCOM U.S. Navy SEALs. Yeah, I played, I'm trying to remember I know the character ended up being named Spectre that I played in this, but he had a different name when we recorded. I didn't have to say my name, so it didn't matter. But he had a different name. I can't remember what it is offhand. But I remember recording for this. Again, I hoped it would do really well. I had a good time doing it. I had a blast. It was so nice to be actually working on a game. It did really well, and so well that they made a sequel. And they used Spectre again, but this time it was Michael Clark Duncan. So they did really well. They said, we got a bigger budget, let's get, I don't think I was the only one that was replaced. I think they recast everybody in it. They had and I just tell you that, not out of bitterness, because it doesn't make a difference. That happens all the time. But just so you understand the industry a little bit, it's just part of what happens, Sometimes we're on the other end and we're the recast. And there doesn't even have to be a reason. Sometimes it's just we want a celebrity in, sometimes they just want to change things up. So, the next significant game, which was very exciting for me, I came into audition and I auditioned for, let's see, what did they call him? They called him a ageless, immortal warrior with an air of superiority. And I was like, cool, man, sign me up. Let me read for this. Okay. So I read for this and booked it. They didn't tell me, they didn't say what the character's name was. They didn't say what the game was. I showed up at the studio for the session. I said, hey, everybody, shook everybody's hand. I met everyone. And they brought me the script, and then they said, and here's a picture. And I knew immediately from the artwork, I knew what game it was. I was like, oh my God. And it had to be cool. But I had to be, I was like, oh my God, this is my favorite fighting game. This is the game that my buddies and I sit down on the Dreamcast and we play. I go to my buddy's house and we play this game all the time. I love it. So I had to stay really, really cool. And I was the new guy in Soul Calibur. I got to play Zasalamel right here. Yeah, so I was very excited for that. I was like, this is so cool. So I had kept it cool, recorded it. But now I'm like, this is great, because this isn't a game like I would have to force my friends to play. Like Extermination, they're like, come on guys, let's play. So that was like a game like, cool, everybody's gonna play this, it's great. So I went in and read for this guy, and this talks a little bit, so I'm gonna talk a little bit about secrecy coming up in just a second, but I'll start right here, because I recorded for him, and as far as I knew, I was only reading for one character. I was reading for Zasalamel, and that's it. Good old Zasalamel. You guys play? Who plays Soul Calibur? Who knows who's played? Yeah, it's nice, very cool. A little bit. He's like, a little bit. I played it a little bit. I've seen it. I've heard of it. I've never played it. No, I don't know what it is. What is it, Keith?
It's gonna be called, what is it? Soul Edge.
Soul Edge. Now you know the difference between you and I. So Zasalamel, what they did is they used a portion of my lines that I just read as Zasalamel. And I didn't know till I actually got the game, and I played it, and I played through as my character, because what else am I gonna do, right? And I got to the boss, Abyss. And I was like, that's me, hey. So they didn't even tell me this. And what they basically did is put an effect on Zasalamel's voice. They knew these lines were gonna be for Abyss. I mean, I couldn't tell the difference reading them. You know, they were still just like fighting lines and stuff. And they made it Abyss also. And that goes right into the secrecy that is involved in voiceover. And that's what I'm gonna talk about a little bit right now. Because with games, it is hilarious how secret they are. I worked on another game, which again, I auditioned for, probably called Project X. I can't tell you how many games I've auditioned for, even gone in, that are still called Project X. They won't tell you what it's called. I worked for months and months on a game called Blackout. I think it's called Project Blackout. You know what that was? You didn't know, it wasn't called Blackout. That's what they told me it was called. That's what they told everybody it was called. And there probably is a game called that, but this was Call of Duty Black Ops 3. You know, I was working on the Reaper for that for all this time, and it took a while before, you know, they released the title for it. And we're like, oh, that's what we're working on? Cool. But it's a very secret industry a lot of times. They don't want us to tell stuff. We have to sign non-disclosure agreements. You guys know what that is? Basically, you promise I won't say anything. Usually it's at the session, before you record anything. Sometimes you gotta sign it just to get the audition. So like my agent will send me a non-disclosure agreement first in an email. I gotta sign that and email that back. Then I get the copy for the audition, which is hilarious. I mean, if you think about that for a second, because they're going to a professional agency anyway that has professional voice actors. Of course we're not gonna do anything. It's just an audition, we're not gonna, but that's how thorough they are. So just so you get an idea, that's why a lot of times, like if you go on like, you know, Keith Silverstein voice artist on Facebook and you ask me questions, like if I can talk about it, I'm like super willing to talk about it. You know, I appreciate the communication. But if I can't, I'm gonna be like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I can't say it, or I'll be like, I'm going to a video game session today. Should be cool. If I can, I'll tell you. I mean, I totally will tell you if I can say what it is. Absolutely. Sometimes I give little hints if I can say, but if I can't, like things that people know I'm on. If I'm going to work on Sailor Moon, I can say that I'm going to work on Sailor Moon or Glitter Force or Miraculous Ladybug or Ninja Turtles, but other stuff I can't, you know what I mean, hasn't been established yet. I can't say anything! So one of the other Project X's that I worked on, I auditioned for a game. The audition I read for a number of characters. One of them was like a military dude, like really badass mercenary type guy. And when I got in, this symbol will tell it all. I came in and the game was actually specifically Umbrella Chronicles. I came in for Umbrella Chronicles and they had me do a bunch of scientists, you know, a couple of different characters like that, and you know, that was a session, boom, was cool. And I thought, okay, well that's cool. I mean, I got a gig on or whatever. I was kind of hoping for the military guy, he seemed cool. Didn't know what he was called or anything. And then a week later they called me and like, hey, can you come back in? We got another character we'd like you to do. Sweet, yeah, of course I can. What do you mean, can I? Of course. So I came in and got to do this badass military guy. I got to do the leader of Alpha Team, Hunk. And I didn't know anything about Hunk before. I didn't know who he was. I played Resident Evil like 1 and 2. I knew it was a great series to be on. I was excited to be working on it, but I got to do it. And I got a little clip for you from, this isn't the first one I did. Umbrella Chronicles was first. I did Darkside Chronicles, Mercenaries 3D, Operation Raccoon City, Revelations. I had a guest appearance on Lost Planet 3. If you solved it or something, you could play as Hunk. For those who didn't know, it's Capcom 2. They had a little crossover. Look.
6.
Hmm?
6.
6?
Yeah.
Lost Planet 6?
No. Resident Evil 6.
I don't know. Was Sonic and Shen? Maybe I did.
Yeah, you have to play as Ada or something like.
I may have that too. I don't know. Sometimes he's in there, but he's not. You like I go in for like an hour or something. So and then it takes a year for the game to come out. So sometimes I'm like, what game was that? I don't know. But this is from Operation was it Raccoon City? I wanted to say Raccoon Chronicles. I was like, that's not right. It's not Raccoon. You know, Raccoon Chronicles. You guys know what I'm talking about.
Alpha Leader, we're in position. Copy. Stand by. You guys must be the new Delta team. Report. Spectre here. All set. Vector here. Good to see you again, sir. Name's Beltway. Nice to meet you, Mr. Death.
Call me Lupo, Delta Team Squad Leader.
Command, I've rendezvoused with Delta Team.
Understood. Now find Birkin and secure those samples. Failure is not an option.
You heard him. Let's move.
You know what I like about that scene actually is so like I'm playing Hunk, right? And did you catch the names of the other guys? Not all of them, but one of them's named Vector.
Yeah, Spectre.
And also played Vector the Crocodile, not in this game. That would be weird. And then Spectre. Remember I just said I played a guy named Spectre? So I'm like, I just gotta play somebody named Lupo. What was the other one? I just gotta get a couple more and I was like, yeah! I nailed all those. I have to get a Beltway and a Lupo, right? And then I'm like, boom, then I'm in. Then that scene's gonna be awesome. So we'll see. Hopefully I'll get there at one point. Yeah.
I was playing the game. When facing going up Birkin, I died and I waited 5 minutes plus to reload the game. It was that bad.
Wait, it took that long to reload it? Oh, that's like, you want to frustrate the gamers?
I like the game, but
that's how to do it. No, listen, hey, you like what games you like, whatever. It didn't take me long to load that scene, so that's what I got for you. Yeah, I played some of that game. I didn't play the whole thing. I'll admit it. I played some. I played a couple of levels, and that's where I got to. But it's all good. I'm still happy to have worked on it. So just to give you guys an idea, like around that time, some of the other titles that I was working on, which you may or may not know, we'll see. Oh, good old Riviera. This one people seem to know.
Yes.
Golden Sphere, nice.
Oh, Atlas, of course.
Yeah, Atlas has some good stuff, man. I like working with Atlas. This is a funny one because I worked on Skate, right? And I did like 20 civilians in Skate, and it's such a big world. Like my son and I, we played this game for hours, and I never found myself anywhere. We just had to give up. We're like, I don't know. I guess maybe they didn't use me. I don't know.
That's the pro skater killer.
There was is it? Is the pro skater pros play that and they stopped playing?
No, this game like beat pro skater like.
Oh, it beat that game. I see what you're saying.
This game was more freestyle.
Gotcha. And then one of the other games I got to be in the Castlevania. I played Albus in Order of Ecclesia. Look at that. I can name something and he can quote it. Like that's impressive. Mario, that's good, man.
I was doing Symphony of the Night.
I don't care, man. It's still, you didn't have to tell me that. I would have bought it. You should have just played it off. Now wrong game. Wrong game, man. You're wrong, bro. Around the same time, man, a little later, I got to go back to the Castlevania universe again, bro. This time, I got to play Simon Belmont, who sounded nothing like this. That would have been a bad choice, right?
That looks like
I hate these candles.
That
So I was whipping this game.
It was drawn by the artist for Death Note.
It was drawn by the artist of Death Note.
Oh, that's why he looks like Light.
That's why he looks like Light. Yeah, absolutely. Light. It's Light Yagami. No, but it is the artist who did that. I actually have a little like statue. Well, it's pretty big actually, about this big, of this one design. Again, designed by the same artist. So Death Note. It's pretty cool. Whenever I find something like that on eBay, I'm very excited, and I just go get it. Wait, how much? Never mind. I'll wait. So I want to talk about something else in video games, something they call vocally stressful work. You guys ever heard that term?
Yes.
Yeah, we get it a lot. Now, usually military games are notorious for vocally stressful works, but a lot of games can have it. It just really is to define work where you're doing a lot of screaming or a lot of yelling, growling, monster noises. Some voices can just be like things like if you have a character that sounds like Yosemite Sam, that's going to be stressful on your voice. Like you don't want to do it for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours, you know? It's tough. So you got to kind of, as an actor, you got to pace yourself a little bit. You got to have your hot tea breaks. You got to take, like sometimes you want to be cool and they're like, hey, how you doing, man? You want a break? And you want to go like, no, let's keep going. Let's plow through this. But sometimes it's much smarter to actually be like, you know what? I'll take that break. Not because you're tired, but you're resting your voice. You got to kind of know your instrument and be careful with that. So some of the vocally stressful games I worked on, they're going to be a lot military. Red Faction. Anybody know who directed this game? You guys know who Carl Weathers is? You ever watch Rocky? Apollo Creed.
Yeah.
The original Apollo Creed. And for those of you who haven't seen Rocky because you're too young and you haven't gotten around to Rocky yet, Happy Gilmore. He gets his arm bitten off, right? I actually told him that after we recorded. I said, man, I laughed for I told him, I said, dude, funniest thing I've ever seen in film. I laughed for 20 minutes. 20 minutes at least. When that line where he's like, yeah, they wouldn't let me, I couldn't play anymore. And Adam Sandler's like, oh man, I'm sorry, why? Because you're black? He's like, no, damn alligator bit my arm off, right? Just, I was dying. It was hilarious.
That's weird because he like dies in both movies.
Yeah, it's true. Well, he dies in the second Rocky. Sorry to spoil that. It's been a long time.
Wait,
Is it 4?
I think it's 4. Yeah, with the Russian. The Russian beat the crap out of that.
How you can't really spoil something from. So in the end of Wizard of Oz, it's like you can't. It's like, come on, guys, you got to know this by now. This ship sinks in Titanic. I'm so sorry. No, everybody's fine though. Everybody's fine. Nobody dies.
And he still hasn't won an Oscar.
Worked on. Anyway, we yelled a lot for Carl Weathers. He liked us to yell, so that was a lot of screaming. Operation Flashpoint. I rented this game with a buddy, and we couldn't figure out how to do anything. Nothing.
Never heard that.
We couldn't like get to the hill to fight. Like, I mean, it was like pathetic. We're just like, I can't make it do anything. Where do we go? I don't know. So that was a bad sign. It might have been a great game, just too complicated for us. Steel Battalion, Heavy Armor. Mentioned this earlier. Somebody said they liked this game.
Yeah, that one's actually really good.
This was a lot of yelling. I remember lots of yelling in that one.
Isn't Nolan North in that game?
Yeah, yes. He is. He's probably in a lot of these games. Nolan North is very talented. He does a lot of work, a lot of great work. One of the ones that you'd think would have been, like, this one was a lot of yelling, but guess what? It wasn't for me, because my particular character that I played never got too hot or too loud, because he's the Reaper. So he was, he got to stay pretty chill most of the time. It's just business for the Reaper. But otherwise, it would have been one of the games that's not a military game that I remember being a good chunk of yelling. Asura's Wrath. This game was crazy. It was cool, though. This is a cool game. I like the scale of it. Like, people that were like 7 times bigger than the Earth, and you're battling them. Like, that's like, how does that even work? Why don't they just swat the Earth aside? Yes.
Were you in that? Because I really like that game.
You know what? I play minor characters in it, so I'd have to look it up. I mean, it's online, I think. If you go to KeithSilverstein.com and you go to my video game section for my resume, just find Asura's Wrath and see who I put on there. Because I'm sure I put a name in it. I know I played like King so-and-so in the beginning, and then I was some really big dude, so it's just, you have to look it up.
Yeah, that game probably was straight on Liam O'Brien.
Oh, I know Liam was screaming in that one. Oh, I know that for sure. Now, sometimes they're not vocally stressful, but they just have a lot of dialogue. Just a ton of dialogue. A game that I worked on had a lot of dialogue. I'm going to speed things up somewhere around that time. With Dragon's Dogma. I need to play this thing. I actually love this game.
The second one.
So you love the theme song? So I was one of the pawns in this game. There's 4 pawns, and we worked, just to give you an idea, I think we worked for maybe 5 or 6 weeks in a row, 5 days a week, 4 hours a day. And all 4 of the pawns, we all had the same lines, basically. So if you can imagine, because I'm talking about the scripts, we would go through a notebook at a time, but if you stacked all my scripts on top of each other, it would probably be like, up here from the table. And then we went back a couple weeks later and did, more pickups and additional lines were added for it and everything. One of the cool things about doing voiceover in video games is sometimes you do something in another form of pop culture, like anime, for example. Like this guy. Yeah, good old Kimimaro. And the cool thing about Kimimaro is he lasted 10 episodes in the show. And it's not a spoiler to say he dies. You know he's going to die when you meet him. Spoiler! You know he's going to die. You know it's going to happen.
Wait, was those...
But he gets to keep coming back. I've been doing like 10 years of video games now for this character, which is like fantastic. Also because I'm such a pop culture geek anyway, I get really excited. For me, a lot of times I love any work, but if it's something I'm familiar with or I grew up on, like I get extra excited.
Oh yeah, War for Cybertron.
So I was really lucky. I got to work on the Cybertron games. I got to work on War. Fall, and then they didn't put Cybertron in it, but Rise of the Dark Spark was the last one. And I got to play this guy, Rumble. Got to play, did you see him? Did he have long enough? Frenzy, and Blast Off, which is really cool, because I mean, I grew up on Transformers, so I'm like, just give me a Transformer, I don't care. Give me a Transformer, I'll do it. Even things like, you know, I watched like the Terminator game, you know, movies, so I mean, I love the first Terminator, Terminator 2. After that, I don't know, but I like the first couple. I'm a big Star Wars fan, so even a game like Connect, it doesn't matter. I'm like, dude, I want to be in the Star Wars universe. It's fantastic. You know, comic book stuff I dig. I'm mostly a Marvel guy, but trust me, I love who doesn't love Batman? You gotta love Batman. Like, come on. I like a lot of DC characters, but
Who'd you play in Batman?
well, I'm gonna give you a little sample right now of one of the characters that I played. I played various, but this was in the last one. I had this little Easter egg.
Mr. Wayne, Greg Luthor calling. Apologies for going by your direct line, but I grow tired of these games. LexCorp has made a very generous offer for Wayne Tech's Applied Sciences Division. Yet your persistent unavailability begins to look less like a busy schedule and more like deliberately antagonistic behavior. Come now, meet with me. I'm sure we can come to an agreement. A man of your refined taste doesn't need an Applied Sciences Division after all. He needs another $1 billion.
I need the first $1 billion. I don't need another one. I need the first one.
That's the first Easter egg I found.
Yeah, so I got to be, that was kind of cool. I got to be Lex Luthor in that one, among other characters. Also, what's kind of funny now is like I'm a gamer from the beginning, so now sometimes I get to work on new games that were games I played when I was a kid, too. So, or not even a kid, it's funny, when Sonic came out, I wasn't a kid, just so you know that. But I still played it because I was a gamer. And as you may already know, who did I play, Sonic?
Vector.
Excellent, you're absolutely right.
I didn't get to tell you this. Actually, Vector, he showed up on a 32X game. Sega 32X?
Yeah, Sonic Tails and
Knuckles Chaotic.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Cool beans. So let me talk a little bit about the director and how important the director is. And this is part of what the problem was in some of the older games. Director is everything. They hold everything together. And the size of the scripts, right, prohibits us from reading the scripts ahead of time, and the secrecy, right? So they're not going to give us a script, especially when it would be this big. So we need the director to help us with what's going on. I might decide, hey, I'm going to flirt a little bit with this female character I'm talking with in the scene. The director's the guy who goes, whoa, 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 that's your sister. Don't pull back the flirt. You know what I mean? But you need that because you don't know. They keep the pronunciation, seems minor, but it's major, because if the city is called whatever it's called, and all the different characters keep saying a different pronunciation, it's ruining the experience for the gamer, because they're like, well, what's this place called, dude? Nobody knows. So it's very important. Not only that, but in video games, we're recorded separately. So to make the conversation match, so that we both have the same vibe, like you don't want somebody giving a lot of attitude, but the other person's not responding to attitude, you know what I mean? Because it's just gonna feel disjointed. It needs to feel like we're talking to each other. If that's, you know, in the scene with me and an actress or another actor. So the director's the person that keeps that all together. Very, very important. Now games like, you know, Skyrim, and Elder Scrolls Online are games that have a lot of dialogue, and pronunciation is important, so you need the director to help you with that stuff. Now, for those of you who don't know, for Skyrim World, I played Condescending Male. I talked about this a little earlier. He was all over. Savos Aran was one of the examples of him, but the more popular one that everybody seems to know is this dude. You get to the Cloud District very often. Well, I say, of course you don't. That's the guy that everybody likes to kill online. And thank you to everybody, by the way, all you YouTubers who put out all these videos of you just killing him constantly in like 40 different ways. My favorite, somebody did a mod of the game and they put 100 Nazim on top of an icy mountain and told them basically to go to Whiterun. And so the whole video, it's way too long to watch, you gotta skim through it, but it's all of them walking and bumping into each other and being totally condescending to each other constantly. And every once in a while, like wolves or trolls attack them and take out like 10 or 20, and it's just to see how many Nazims make it back, to make it actually back. It's hilarious, right? So let me talk a little bit about the future now. Now we've got things like motion capture, which is part of it now, and they're using a lot of voice actors. They're using stunt people for motion capture too, as they should. Here I'm doing some markerless motion capture at a convention, which means you don't have the little ping pong balls on you, basically. You just hit your T-pose, and it's more like puppetry what I'm doing here. Like, see the character on the screen? Like, I can watch him and he's moving as I go. So it's a little different from doing it and then they record it and then they animate to it. This was like working a virtual puppet, basically. And of course, now you've got toy game crossovers. The Skylanders games. I play Bash and Dino Rang and a number of other characters throughout the Skylanders universe. And there's knockoff games. They did a Hero Portal. I got to be, but it was cool because I got to be Raphael and Donatello and Shredder in this one. We did a DC one. I got to be the Flash and Lex Luthor again, which is cool. One of the newer things that just came out is Playmation by Disney. It's not so much a video game, but it's interactive toys. It's pretty cool. I mean, you guys are all probably a little old for it, but it's pretty awesome. You got an Iron Man gauntlet that talks to you, knows how you're moving, knows if you're going slow, if you're going quickly, if you're jumping, if you're moving, and you interact with toys. Some of them roll around, some of them stay stationary, so you got to dodge, block, do different attacks, sneak, disarm bombs, sneak over here, sneak over there, get behind the couch. It's pretty funny. I wish I had when I was a kid, I really do. And I got to play Ultron Bot, and because I'm a Marvel junkie, Marvel geek, I got to play The Incredible Hulk, and I was really excited about that. I'm like, oh my god, I get to play, are you kidding me? So I've had a blast. I've been working on this. It's out now, but I've been working in it, I think I worked on it for the last year, just multiple sessions over the year. And the next one coming out is Star Wars, and they have a lightsaber that knows how you're moving and everything. One of the other ones that's coming, because we're talking about the future right now, is a little game called Overwatch. I play Torbjorn, who's the little dwarf guy, little red dude here. And I don't know, we got a little bit of time. I got a little quick example just to show you a little bit of what that game looks like, and then we're see if I can get some volunteers real quick.
Build them up, break them down.
And I think the PC version is, at least the beta's out.
I foresee great things for you. Let's get started. Here now.
Next couple of months,
In 60 seconds.
they're going to put it out on the consoles too. I think it's in the next couple of months.
Let's hear those guns.
Function, victory is assured.
So at any rate, this is one we talk so much and we're running out of time, but this is one I'm really looking forward to. So this should be pretty cool, and I'm hoping Blizzard makes great games, so I'm hoping this does well. I've been in most of their games. I got to work on Hearthstone and
30 seconds.
of course World of Warcraft.
Well, it's high noon somewhere.
There's Matt Mercer. So anyway, you can see that what we're doing in games now, we've come a really long way.
Mattel Electronics presents B-17 Bomber.
Yeah, quite a bit. So listen, we got just enough time. We got a couple volunteers that had a chance to win a prize. Let me see what I got here. Let's go you. Oh yeah, come on up. And then we got to get two from this side. Well, we'll go with you. And I hate choosing. Come on up. All right, and now I love not telling people what they're gonna do first. That's my favorite thing.
Yeah.
All right, coming up. Let's see this mic. Bob it. We'll start over here. We'll come up front here. All right, so here's what we're gonna do, and you guys are gonna help me out right now. We're gonna do, you guys play a lot of video games, you got your fighter games, whatever, military games. What's important? You gotta have a death screen. So that's what you guys are up here for. You guys are here for a death screen. So we'll start over here, just because you're standing all the way over here, and we're gonna start. Tell everybody your name. You gotta come up here. Oh, here we go. Tell everybody your name. Stand up to center.
Hey guys, my name's Jesse, and
let's hear it for Jesse first off. Very great. All right, so listen, you guys are judging this. I'm not. Okay, that's not my job to judge. It's your job to judge. So give us your best video game, death screen, whatever you think the audience is gonna like. Go for it. I know you got to go first. It's tough. Come on, man. You can do it, Jesse.
You sound like a Star Wars character.
There you go. Nice. It's not easy to volunteer. Go ahead and stand over here. It's not easy to volunteer, and it's not easy to do that. Come on over here. All right. Tell everybody your name.
Jessica.
Jessica. Let's hear it for Jessica. Miss Jesse. And Jessica. Okay, if we keep going along that line, it's going to be very weird. All right, Jessica. Let's hear your best video game death scream. Nice. I heard the dying. Very nice. Very nice. Well done. Come on up. All right, tell everybody your name.
Viviana.
Somebody had to break it up, right? The name is Viviana? Is that right? Viviana? Okay, Viviana. Let's hear your video game death scream. Very nice. Let's hear it. Come on. It's not easy to do. Come on over here. Let's see what you got. All right, what's your name?
Joshua.
All right, Joshua. Let's hear it for Joshua. You're very brave in coming up here. All right, Joshua. Video game, Death Scream. You went old school. You went old school. I heard it. I heard that was like super old school. That was like the ones we played in the video thing. But that's awesome. You went for it. I appreciate that. Now I wanted to notice that two of you decided, you did it too, right? It was the guys, right, that went down, that did this while they were gone? So that's cool because you're holding a mic like this. Just for the record, in a studio, you'd never get away with that because really you'd be like, oh! The mic's not going anywhere, you know what I mean? So they'd be like, yeah, it sounded awesome, dude, for what we heard. Try it again, Stan. But it's fine, you took the mic with you, so that's cool. All right, come on up here, guys. Come on up here.
What I miss?
We got all the good stuff.
Everything.
So, all right, let's hear it right here. All right, this is Jesse, right? Let's hear it for Jesse. And this is Jessica. Viviana, all right? Joshua. We hear Jesse one more time? I think you got some friends in the audience, but you know what? It works. You have won. Let's hear a round of applause for everyone first off. Thank you for coming up, and I will get you a prize, sir. Very nice. That's not easy to do. And guys, I will say, please come and check out. I've got a panel tomorrow. I think it's called, what is it called? Voiceover Games Challenge thing. Okay. And it is that, but way more. I mean, that's just the basics of it. It's a lot of fun. It's not about like showing clips and stuff. I give out prizes, and it's going to be a blast. So please come to that because I need people to show up for that one for sure.